Sweat, Day.
We have a new case we are working on, Dean. The mother of a 16-year-old called earlier. He's in jail and he's being charged as an adult because he was accused of murder.
Great. Illinois state law says that a juvenile 15 or older can get life without the possibility of parole.
It's unfortunate because he has no criminal history. But the details of this crime are particularly heinous. He is accused of shooting a liquor store clerk in the head.
I see. Tom Kirby from the Campaign to End the Death Penalty calls life without parole the other death penalty. She says it wastes a person's life to keeping them behind bars, and it doesn't improve society.
You remember the Mark Clements case? He went to jail when he was 16 for arson and murder. He was given life without parole but was exonerated 2 years ago after spending 28 years in prison.
Right, I remember that case. Clements said that juveniles should be given proper defense. Otherwise they just sit in jail and suffer.
Some say people need to pay their debt to society, do the crime, do the time.
There's probably a middle ground in finding the most appropriate punishment.
Let's get to work.
More than 25% of people serve life without parole after being sentenced as children were convicted of felony murder or accomplice liability. Nearly 80% of juvenile lifers reported witnessing violence in their homes. More than half witness weekly violence in their neighborhoods. African Americans are sentenced to life without parole as children at a rate 10 times that of white people. 80% of girls and nearly half of all children sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole have been physically abused. 70% of girls and 20% of all youth said they have been sexually abused.
So, Dr. Weinstein, what is your view on juvenile justice and them having life without parole?
I think life without parole for juveniles is cruel and unusual punishment. Since a juvenile is so young, being in prison for that long amount of time is excessive, and a juvenile doesn't have a clear understanding of what they have done.
Alrighty, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
I chose Dr. George P. Wilson to be my ethical philosopher because he feels as though that juveniles should not get life without parole. However, their actions should never go unpunished.
I count 6 shots. Gussin' out the bando. A nigga jury real metal like a piano. I went from rag to riches to a feature with tip. I went from smart car to a bitch with some smart lips. And that if it need make my hip limp. I'm going fishing with these little bitty strip dips. And my bankroll kinda big dip. Woo. She gon' bring it on a big ship.